how's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Victor Crowley from 2017. This is the fourth and so far final film in the Hatchet franchise, and it was once again written and directed by Adam Green. The movie stars a returning cast of Perry Shen and Kane Hodder. Great to see them both back, but yeah, Perry Shen, that was the guy who played 3 different roles in the original trilogy, and now he finally gets to be the lead of the movie. That's super cool. But of course, Hatchet, with the new characters, you're going to see some familiar faces. We have Laura Ortiz, who was in the Hills Have Eyes remake. We have Dave Sheridan, who was in Scary Movie, but the one I was most excited for was Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp. Always cool to see some familiar faces. Now, this is the first Hatchet movie not to be called Hatchet, it's called Victor Crowley. And we had seen slasher movies change their name to the name of the antagonist before, like Child's Play becoming Chucky, or the Jason trilogy from Friday the 13th. So it makes sense, but it also helps define this as its own thing. You see, the first 3 Hatchet movies actually go back to form one giant movie, and in turn, Victor Crowley actually does a time jump. How long could we have kept that one giant movie going for? I guess it makes sense to do a time jump. This is 10 years later, so we're now caught up to real time, and in turn, this is the first Hatchet movie that feels more like a sequel than a continuation. And if you're riding that high of Hatchet 3, it does take a minute to kind of come down and say, okay, we're doing our own unique thing now, but I really do like this one. It kind of takes some steps to make it feel more like Hatchet 1. Like, we get a whole bunch of wacky and unique characters in this one, and the humor is definitely upped from 2 and 3 back to that part 1 level humor, but there is some unique stuff as well. For example, there's a plane crash in this movie, and a lot of the characters have to hide in the wreckage, and it kind of becomes a defend the base style movie. And we also get a bunch of self-referential movie humor, which is pretty fun as well. And there's also some cool kind of Argento lighting with these reds and blues in the movie. There's some fun stuff for this one, but overall it is very much about Hatchet getting back to basics and starting up a new thing, you know? It's very much like, hey, here's the humor you love, here's the kills you love, Kane Hodder's back and he's gonna be doing some damage, and it is very much just a hey, let's have fun slasher movie, and it's cool to see Hatchet coming back and doing this all again. All that being said, I have my fingers crossed that we will eventually get a Victor Crowley part 2 and 3, because I would love to make a second mega movie. Although that being said, it's been 8 years, so who knows. But anyway, I definitely say check this one out. If you've only seen the original trilogy, it's worth watching this next part. Just know that it is kind of a little sequel-y movie, and it's not really trying to be the big epic surprise 4th act of the trilogy or anything like that. But I have to say, I enjoyed it. But all that being said, I do want to talk a bit about the movie in more specifics. I'm not going to do any major spoilers, and I'll try not to ruin the end, but I do want to break down and analyze a few plot points, and overall, from here on out, let's just do a bit of a deeper dive. We open up with Perry Shen's character, Andrew Young, and he has just put out a book because it's the 10th anniversary of the Honey Island Swamp Massacre, and he was the sole survivor. And in the book, he talks about how he single-handedly fought off Victor Crowley, but if you saw Hatchet 3, you know that he actually was hiding at the time. And we do get this kind of funny thing, you know, because that is his character, and you think, okay, he's gonna hide, but for real, it's Victor Crowley, what would you do? But yeah, he never did find out about Danielle Harris and Caroline Williams and that whole ooey gooey ending that Hatchet 3 had. But he has an agent that will be Felissa Rose's character, who's going to tour him around and try to make the most money out of him that she can, and it's this whole media firestorm, especially because some people see him as a hero and a survivor, but other people suspect that he may have been the killer, although with that much carnage, I'm surprised that they think one guy could have done it, because we're talking 40 plus corpses here. But apparently what got them is they found his DNA on 2 of the victims, which I'm guessing is a reference to his past 2 characters. So what, is Andrew Young like a triplet lost at birth? I'm not sure. Or maybe he's like a living repeater caught in Victor Crowley's curse. I don't know. We could do something fun with that if we really wanted to. Well, it turns out Felissa Rose has gotten him a deal. Since it is the 10th anniversary of the Honey Island swamp murders, a interview crew is going to pay him $1 million to fly back out to the swamp and do an interview there, and he of course really doesn't want to do it, but who can turn down $1 million, am I right? He gets on a plane and there's a few wacky Hollywood style characters there, but also the reporter just so happens to be his ex-wife. A little bit of a tension there and some good back and forth and banter. While that's all going on in the sky, we jump to the ground, and on the ground we have Honey Island Swamp now. It's completely safe. We haven't seen Crowley in 10 years. He's dead. And a bunch of people are cashing in. There's tour boats and merchandise and a second group of characters. They're trying to make a trailer in order to get a Victor Crowley movie funded, which this is actually something that Hatchet Part 1 did for real to get funding, so I can't help but think that some of these characters are Adam Green making some self-referential jokes. Well, they run into David Sheridan's character, and he's one of those over-the-top actor personalities that kind of thinks he is a real-life hero, but he's actually just one of the boat captains, and he wants to break into acting and says, "Hey, I'll take the boat out just for you guys if you promise to give me a part in the movie." Again, another wacky character there. But then they go to shoot that scene of the curse being placed on Victor Crowley, and much in the style of Evil Dead, saying this curse again is going to bring Victor Crowley back to life. And, you know, I kind of wish it was something deeper and more meaningful, because as much work as we had to do to kill him in Part 3, the idea that he can just be brought back by happenstance, I wish it was something a little bit stronger. But when they do look up a YouTube video to see how to pronounce the curse, there is a fun cameo, so that helps it out. But in addition to bringing Victor Crowley back, it also crashes Perry Shen's plane in the swamp, and yeah, now we have a plane wreck and Victor Crowley is outside. We get some cool elements, you know, like one of the girls is trapped under a piece of wreckage, and as the plane sinks into the swamp, it starts to drown her. That's a cool little timer. And there are other things trying to get them out of the plane as well. Crowley will be up to a few tricks, and maybe he doesn't need a trick. Maybe he can just smash his way in there. It'll take him some time, but he can probably do it. And yeah, we do get that defend the base, and then plus the stress and the wacky characters, we'll get some fun back and forth banter amongst the crew, and you know that the movie crew is going to eventually bump into the plane crew, and all our characters will meet while Victor Crowley picks most of them off one by one in crazy and over-the-top manners. And like with most Hatchet movies, that plot is relatively simple, but I think these are kind of, you know, best not to overthink them. Put the characters in a plane crashes, this is the plane wreck movie. It really does do its best to try to get back to the Hatchet 1 roots, tell some jokes, have some over-the-top kills, but we still do have the pieces that came before, and even though this isn't a direct continuation, we will see in particular with Andrew Young, but also with a few other elements, like keep your eye outs for Hatchet 1 through 3 Easter eggs. We do get the world still building, but not quite at the scale we did with the original trilogy. All that being said, I really do hope they actually do Victor Crowley 2 and 3. I would love to do the whole thing again and build another epic 3-part movie, but we'll just have to wait, fingers crossed. Overall, this movie was really fun, and I can definitely recommend it. If you've seen the original trilogy but not Crowley, definitely pop this one in. It's not quite like having a 4th part of Hatchet. It is very much like, hey, we'll do a sequel and bring stuff back, but it still is the same same world, and it still does have the same pros. So overall, I can say check this one out. It's a pretty good time. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Hatchet playlist. If you want to see me talk about the first 3 movies, you should be able to find reviews for that there. Anyway, have a good day. See you guys again very, very soon. Playlist here. Have a good day now.